You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
Hey guys, Charge Center presents Zoom the TBT. Tonight we're continuing our series of regional previews. We're doing the Columbus region tonight. Charge, how you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling great. Excited to talk about Columbus. Obviously, my home state. I've attended a couple regionals down there in Columbus, so can't wait to get down there again. And arguably, probably the most talented bracket, top to bottom, 1 to 16. I don't like the hand wave. Wait till you talk about these teams, Hayner. But it's going to be an amazing regional.
I'm looking at the detailed bracket. We're going to do the 710, 215 for this pod. And we've got a lot of really quality. We've got 3 really quality alumni fan bases, and then whatever a Vahakni City is. So, Charge, what is a Vahakni City?
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine right now. Obviously this year was a buy-in team. Wasn't expecting this one. I thought we may see Broner's team or someone else buy in, but nonetheless, I'm excited to see Vahakni City come to play. The Armenian champs. Got some guys with TBT experience. Darius Clark played before. He was, I believe, the MVP of the finals for Vahakni City, and I shouldn't even try saying that.
I think
anymore.
we should try to mispronounce it as many times as
many
possible.
Different ways
as many times as we can.
So
Vahakni City.
A lot of question marks. But these are some guys that have played together, which we know cohesion is always a plus in the TBT. So obviously going up against number 2 Red Scare. So
hey, who's our guest tonight, by the way? Who's our guest tonight?
Speaking of Red Scare, we have head coach and general manager Joey Gruden with us tonight. How you doing,
with
Joey?
his youthful good looks? How you doing, Joey?
I'm doing good. How's it going, guys?
Not bad. We're getting excited about the lead up. We're going to get right into this. So I know that we're doing the matchups by pod. So obviously you haven't really had a chance to do too much scouting of Wolfblood versus Category 5, but obviously you don't want to look ahead because Vahakni City very well might be a really, really quality opponent. They could give you a workout. But if you start to look a little bit at this Wolfblood Category 5 matchup at all?
Yeah, I think especially in a short turnaround tournament, you have to start a little bit of pre-scouting next round, no matter what, just in case. So we have taken a peek at, the next 2 opponents, Miami and NC State, as well as putting all our focus on BC, Vahakni City.
Vahakni City. I thought it was Vahakni City. Whatever. Yeah. So, Charge, looking at this matchup here, ACC powerhouses here, some fan bases that are kind of new to the tournament. What strikes out to you at these rosters? Where do you want to go first?
Yeah, no, I'll start with the Cat 5 team. Wolfblood, extremely talented team led by CJ Williams. Doesn't have a lot of TBT experience at all. So I think what really sticks out to me is even though Category 5 is a first-year Miami alumni team in Category 5, they do have some pretty good experience with Malcolm Grant, Rion Brown, who people think highly of, Durant Scott, Kamari Murphy. So these are, some household names in the TBT community and, G League overseas. So people need to take note of those particular players. They're going to be a tough squad, and Wolfblood once again playing together. Most of these guys are original NC State guys, so it's more like a true alumni team. So they should come in with cohesion, even though they're a first year alumni team.
Yeah, it is interesting you see this, and it's again awakens the argument. And it's good we have Joey on take too, because he's from a team that also stays fairly true, if not completely true, to the alumni process. It's always the arguments this way, especially with the some of the teams basically adding a lot of non-alumni players. You see a Wolfblood with a pure NC State roster versus a Cat 5 who have 4 contributors who are, 4 contributors who are from other teams. So and I guess I'm going to ask Joey this question too. Being an alumni GM, being an alumni head coach, how much does having a system in place in this sort of tournament and having a shared experience help you to organize a team as a coach or as a GM?
I think it's one of the reasons why we're pretty good year in and out. It's just because we have that familiarity and cohesion, and our terminology is all the same for the most part, and we're just comfortable with each other. So I think it's definitely a huge advantage to the teams that all meet each other for the first time, on tip-off night. So I like to try to get all the Dayton guys first, and then obviously add a couple pieces that may be able to help us out.
Yeah, you got to have a little depth. I mean, I'm not a purist on the alumni thing where everybody has to be from the school. I think that's very hard to do in a format like this, especially with so many schools having a lot of their better professionals either in the NBA or aging out. But definitely having the vast majority of your players be from an alumni base is very helpful. So one thing we like to talk about on these shows, Charge, is depth. And these teams, this talent can't be denied. But these aren't particularly deep teams, are they?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to say on these two. I mean, I don't have a lot of familiarity with the Wolfblood guys because they, once again, have not played TBT, but playing Division I college basketball. I mean, these are going to be solid ball players, great overseas careers. You can see some of the leagues that they're playing in our top leagues. So I think even though they're not household names like we see in some of the other teams, they're going to be ready to play, and these guys are definitely going to show up and put on a good fight. This is going to be a great 7-10 matchup.
I think so too. I mean, it's one that I think will be really interesting. I think having the scoring of CJ Williams, who's putting up double digits in France and starting all of his games, having a guy who's putting up 11 in Turkey, which is a good league, really helps the scoring punch. How mad do you guys think old friend of the pod Vinny is about not being able to steal back Ryan Brown for Jimmy V? Wouldn't that give them some punch in their own 8-9 game?
I'm sure just as painful as getting to 9 seed and having to play Team Brotherly Love. So I'm sure if we had Vinny on here, he'd be giving us an earful. But yeah, so obviously he wishes his guys well. Obviously it is what TBT is, strong alumni bases, and he respects their decision to play with those alumni teams. But yeah, absolutely would love to have him on his team right now.
Definitely. And Joey, as a GM, obviously you want to get all the players you want to get, but occasionally there's a white whale who's just either his career is not at that point or you can't quite get him. I mean, for example, you guys would love to have Obi Toppin, but obviously the NBA contract includes that, obviously. Scoochie, yeah. So, speaking about a guy like Steve Larkin, or Shane Larkin, I said Steve Larkin, Shane Larkin, who would be obviously make Miami's my team from here to here. What goes into trying to chase that guy that's really hard to get?
Yeah, I've been chasing a few of those guys, obviously, as well each year. It's honestly all about timing. A lot of them, whether it's personal life, a couple guys I wanted to get are getting married. A couple of them are.
Why would you do that?
I know, right? A couple of them are in big contract years. A couple of them have agents who may be a little more strict than others. Some are really pushing to play in the NBA or summer league and don't want to risk getting hurt. This year, we finally got Jordan Seibert, who I've been trying to get for 3 years. And I think it's just all timing. He was ready to play and wanted to play this year. Maybe it's just him seeing us play a couple of years, and now that we're a little more established, now he wants to play. But it's all about time with these guys with their busy lives.
That makes sense. And Shane Larkin would really put this team on their level. But this will be still a very interesting game. And a nice appetizer for will be the main dish. And that's the Red Scare versus Vahakni City or whatever this is. So I'm sure I've mispronounced this as many times as possible. So Charge, what's it like or what do you think? What is Joey's problem here? Because the note at the very bottom of our slide, note BC Vahakni City stats, not a real GM. How do you scout a team that doesn't have, is it out there really? How do you do this?
Yeah, I think that's more of a question for Joey. Obviously, we read what's on paper and we do the same research, Real GM or Eurobasket, whatnot. So the thing is, the overseas, professional community is probably pretty small. A lot of people cross paths, have played with each other in the past, coaches, et cetera. So I think, a lot of these folks, people are going to know, some of the top names, even though we don't know them. I mentioned some of them at the beginning. Darius Clark is probably the one who stands out the most as far as going to be a top performer for Vahakni City. I mean, Joey, I don't know what you could tell us about Vahakni so far, but what's out there?
Yeah, I've been able to find a few of their championship game from Vahakni City, and they got about 4 guys on the team on the roster. So I've been able to watch that and see kind of what they do and some of their players play a little bit, which was nice to see. It is hard though to tell from one YouTube video and one game. But I've been pulling up Twitter clips, YouTube clips, 10 years ago, college clips, a little bit of everything, trying to read some stats. One guy on their team played for a national team. I've saw him play. So it's kind of just a little bit of bits and pieces all over the place. It's been tougher, but I've been able.
So when you're scouting a team like that, like Vahakni City, like, is it interesting to have all these players who played in all these different countries? Is this like a nightmare? Because the thing is, they come up with no expectations and you have no idea. It's like getting a white elephant gift at Christmas. You don't know what's in the box. So like, how do you prepare for a team you can't prepare for? Like, you know what you come to do. When we had on the show and he says we don't prepare against anybody, we just do what we want, which is completely a feasible thing. Is that how you're approaching it? Like, we're going to play our game and they're going to do what they do?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I think it's always nice to know a little bit about your opponents. I think TBT though, it's more of personnel scouting instead of team scouting, unless you get later on in the later rounds. So just trying to give as much information and tendencies on the players we're playing against, I think goes a long way. But it is also more important of what we do. And, you know, our old coaches always say, hey, what we do what we do well, and we'll be fine. So I think that's kind of the motto we're having going in on the first round game.
Yeah, so Joey, obviously a lot of your roster has come back. You have a lot of experience, obviously with Devin Oliver, Davis's, Pollard, Mike Sell coming back, but you got a couple new guys. You got Devin Scott and Brandon Spearman coming this year. So what did they bring to the team, and why was it important to bring these guys on board an already successful Red Scare team?
Yeah, we wanted Devin Scott last year. He's a super physical, big, tough guy who's, you know, a little older, who does a lot of the dirty work, rebounds and plays hard. So we're super excited to have another veteran leader like him, who's tough. And then Spearman, I've heard a lot of fantastic things about and seen him play overseas. He's had a great career. He had some shooting and some guard play, which we need. He can play point for us as well as shooting guard. So he'll be a good addition. And then obviously adding Jordan Cyber too, who's new to us. I know he's a TBT guy, but having his experience and big time shot making is also a huge addition for us.
Look at this roster too. It's really interesting because, like, and again, a shout out to TBT Thoughts for getting us our stats for these shows. We really appreciate it. It's really helped out our coverage a lot this year. But not only, a lot of teams have contributors. You have guys who were starting in high leagues. I mean, Oliver's started 20 games and is playing up almost 13 in Turkey, which is one of the better leagues in the world. So, like, what's it mean to not only have guys playing in Europe this year? Everybody has played within the last year, basically, but also, like, not just playing, but thriving. Like, does that give you a lot of options to run your offense through? Like, do you have a lot of weapons? Does it give some pressure off the scheme?
Oh, definitely. I feel like, you know, I could start any five I want and we'll be all right. I could sub in at any time and it's not going to be a big drop off compared to a lot of, you know, other teams who might have a good 5 or 6, but then, you know, their 7, 8, 9 guy doesn't play a lot of basketball, which happened to us year one. I remember we had a Division III Ryan Bruns come off the bench for us, which he did a great job, but, you know, it's not a high level player. So just having 8 to 10 guys who are still playing at a high level and playing well it's a huge advantage. They're in shape, they're ready to go, and they're even training for their next season. So I know they're going to come ready to play.
Yeah, and you mentioned Seibert, and so you know, yeah, he does have TB experience, new to you, but he dropped a casual 30 in his one TBT game. So yeah, that's a nice one too.
A casual 30.
A casual 30, yeah, he's going to be interesting to see. I think we know what to expect from a lot of the players on Red Scare. We've seen him in the last couple of years, but Seibert, I think, is going to be really, really impressive. So let's talk about, not to look too far in advance, but obviously new team to the Columbus Regional being the Zip 'em Up team, the boys from Xavier. So they've been online quite a bit. You guys have had a little bit of banner. So tell me a little bit about that potential matchup and kind of some of these old rivalries rehashed. How important is it to get to that game?
Yeah, I think obviously that's our goal, is to get to that third game. Like, we're going to tell our guys, if we get back to Dayton, we have a chance. And then we know we might have to meet them to get back to UD. And if we happen to match up with them in that third game, I just know the atmosphere will be absolutely amazing and electric. I think all of our games will be, though, with our fan base. But yeah, you know, Xavier and Dayton goes back a long way. And if we meet up in a TBT game in July, I just know it'll still be nuts knowing our two fan bases.
Yeah, but first you guys to get past BC Voltron City. So we'll see how that works out here. But anyway, so let's go ahead and let's get to the picks here. Okay. So we got some pretty interesting things going forward here. And Charge, I mean, there's not a lot of surprises here. Obviously, there's a lot of chalk here. It's in Vahakni City. By the way, I'm just pronouncing it for fun. I'm sure they're a credible team. It's being a jerk, but we have the Red Scare as a favorite for obvious reasons. Let's talk a little bit more about the other game. Why is everybody so high on Category 5 despite being the lower seed?
Yeah, and I just think they got plenty of TBT experience and plenty of depth to work with. I don't even think I mentioned Devon Reed when I was calling out some of the other players. So obviously another big time baller that can take over this game. And, I just think they have a little more experience, a little more depth at the top. And I think it should be an easy run for Tennessee taking out the 7 in round 1.
Yeah, and Alan's going to loan on that island there, so we'll see if Alan gets a chance to laugh at us as we talk about expanding coverage with Alan and the guys later. Joey, obviously no complaints of our picks, correct?
What was that question?
No complaints with our picks, correct?
Oh, no, not the Red Scare pick. I have no problem with that.
Well, I know.
Sweep.
So, Joey, anything that the fans need to know? Obviously, there might still be a couple tickets available. But what do people need to know to come out? Like, what are we telling Dayton's fans as we close off this segment?
Oh, man, I just think we're going to have a week-long training camp leading up to the Red Scare first game. We're right up the street. It's going to be electric. You get to see some of your favorite Flyers back at it again, like Jordan Seibert, Devin Oliver, and Mike Selden-Landers all playing the same team again. We've gotten better and better each year, making it further and further. I just think this is our year where we can make a serious splash in the tournament.
On that note, Joey Gruden promising a serious splash in Columbus. Can't wait to watch it. Joey Gruden, GM and head coach of the Red Scare. Thanks for swinging by, Joey.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hainer. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.